We are back. I'd say back again, but this is brand new, Benjamin, isn't it? It's brand new. This is Tales from the Trenches.
Ooh.
Okay. I was going to go with Military Wives, but mine left me. Sorry, I'm never going to stop making these jokes.
It's a coping mechanism.
It is a coping mechanism. That's only been 11 months, to be fair. Only 11. There's still time. I could milk that for a little bit longer. So, yes, welcome to Tales from the Trenches with me, All Business, and with Absolute Bedlam, Ben Garbutt. This evening we are joined by a man who you can see with the massive fucking arms in the screen, with quite a story to tell, quite a few tales to give us. We're going to throw a load of pointless, mundane questions at him, and he's going to make them sound good for the next hour or so. So, Mr. Nick Dunn.
It's a pleasure to be on your podcast, guys.
Pleasure's all ours, Nick. Pleasure's all ours.
We're fine. It's been a long wait, but we've all had our ups and downs and busy times, so we're finally getting here, and that's the most important thing.
This is it.
That's it.
Finally got here. It's been a lot. It's been a strenuous journey, but we made it.
That's it. Right. So, John, are you happy to start, or do you want me to start?
Well, if I throw my first one out there, and then you can follow on with a couple, because you got more.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple about school, so prepare yourself.
So, first question I'm going to throw at you here, Nick. So mine are relatively generic, but I don't think that makes sense. What skills do you think from your time in the military that you think that you now apply to maybe your social media career, your writing, and off the back of that, what do you think the natural discipline you've got for your time in the forces that you've had instilled in you gives you an edge over other people in the sort of markets you're in?
I wouldn't like to say gives you an edge, but everyone's got different qualities and this, that, and the other, and how they use them. But the military does instill a lot of self-preservation into how you conduct yourself. You become very aware of timings. You have this drive, this presence that you want to show that you can conduct things in a high manner. You can assess things different, especially when it comes to like the crisis management, because when you basically go and do an exercise, as say for when we were going out to say Iraq or Afghanistan, you'd do your little 5s and 20s, just basically if you come to a still, just check the area in case there was IED. So you can kind of, I wouldn't say see trouble before it happens, but you could spot something quite unusual to someone who is non-military, and they just kind of just go through life and think, oh, well, it's all singing and dancing, because unfortunately that's how some people live their life, and I don't blame them. Why would you want to see the doom and gloom in life? And I think with me being in the military, I am a positive person, but I'm a realist at the same time, because with the military, it makes you see the world from the outside looking in, so you can see a bit more, and you can see the good and the bad things in life. But unfortunately, we always notice the bad things in life more. But there is good, and I've witnessed good, especially from the amazing people who supported me and continue to support me.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. I'll tell you what, I'm going to segue because it brings up a plethora of questions.
Go for it.
But I want to pick on where you said about seeing the good in people general, in general rather. Was you ever in a situation when you were serving where maybe you were in a tight bind or a dire situation, and the situation or someone in the situation or the enemy or someone like that surprised you with a kind gesture or a good deed? Has there ever been that kind of scenario occur for you when you're actually out there in that situation?
Not really, but like I was when I was in Afghanistan, involved in a mine strike on our vehicle, and I was top gunner. And it's a strange experience because things just happen so fast. You know, when you see the movies, yes, they're made to sell and make money and make the effects look great, but there's none of this, oh, see a bomb, let's get out of the way. It literally, boom, like massive dust cloud, didn't even see it. And you wouldn't expect a pressure plate mine to be where it was when we're all around. You know, what if someone, say, just went for a little walk, but still in eyesight? They would have potentially walked over that mine. Fortunately, none of the three of us was seriously injured. The mine was a 105 military shell, and it literally went up the engine block, and it was a massive dust cloud, and I fell from the top into the Land Rover, and once the dust kind of settles, your ears are ringing a little bit. I don't care what people say. You go straight for your crown jewels because that's what makes you a man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't care what people might think. Yes, that is the male sex organ. That's what makes you a male. That's the first bloody thing you'd see if it's there. Because without it, you aren't a man. You would just want to take your own life. But luckily, we were all unscathed. And then what does really happen in, say, the movies to real life is everything slows down. People are talking in slow motion. So we were climbing out of the vehicle and we're going to just jump and then just carry on. But you're not thinking straight. And then you see the guys coming with the metal detectors and they're saying, don't move, make sure we check around the vehicle so you know we can basically say it's safe. And everything's slow motion, and then when you're going over a barbed wire fence and you're doing that and your legs shake, and I was kind of like that, and I was thinking, bloody hell, what's going on here? But then I obviously composed myself, waited till they pissed around the vehicle, making sure it was safe, and then obviously I jumped off. But to the right of the driver's side, just a little bit further forward, there was a large potential mine. And with it being large, it was probably an anti-tank mine, probably dating back to when the Russians were in Afghanistan. If we had drove over that, we would have been gone. It would have been 1 minute alive, next minute gone. Unless, say, the vehicle done its runners, but it was a lightly armoured Land Rover, not like the big metal vehicles that you normally can remember from seeing the news of troops in Afghan and all that. And even people die in them vehicles, it depends on the explosion. But I can say it was a very close call. On that particular operation, a few people had been driving over mines as well. I think 2 of our vehicles were damaged by driving over a mine, and a quad pulling a trailer. So it was a kind of delayed. So the quad itself set it, and then obviously once the trailer went over, that's when it exploded. So obviously the person who was driving that quad was absolutely like that, very lucky.
Fucking hell. Puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. You look at me and say, don't you dare fucking ask another follow-up.
I go to work, I come home, and I'm like, oh, today was shit. I had to create 4,000 Windows user accounts. Then we got Nick that's nearly fucking become Red Mist.
Fucking hell.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right. You're right.
It's mad, isn't it? I've got nothing to moan about.
That's war. That's the nasty side of it. If there is a good side of it, if you want to look at that. well, you can always take a positive from a negative. Blokes go to Afghanistan, come back with a suntan and money in the bank, and then they go on the pit and spunk it all up the wall, and then they're skint, living on rations. Typical army bloke, and that's the life we lived, and it was mega.
Yeah,
I miss the camaraderie with the blokes on the piss, going having a laugh when you're on exercise, going, it's bloody freezing, it's shit, shit. And then when you've been crawling through icy cold rivers, you're caked in mud and shit, and you're like, this is fucking awful, this. Yeah. But when you think back, they are the times that you really enjoyed and you miss. Yeah. And I do them, but I was given that opportunity to go. People who are non-military might not understand, or but they like to watch, say, your podcasts and enjoy the people that you have, so they'll watch all. Like I say, there's people who watch podcasts for certain people,
definitely.
Like I just basically watch my podcast, but I don't go from start to end. I'll watch a bit, then I'll skip a bit, because I just don't like watching myself. But I've got to, look back at things and reflect and say, did I answer that question better, as good as I could have? And it's just learning a bit better to talk, especially when I want to stand on stage and conduct myself in front of maybe 20, 50, 100. It depends how big the venue is, and people are interested to come see us. But practice makes perfect, and I definitely know I've come on leaps and bounds when I've been doing podcasts, from going back to a couple of years ago and looking at the ones there. But I was like, I'd only been home, say, so many months, so it was still all raw, and you could really see the emotions and hurt in my face still, and my voice. And I can still talk about the stuff. It is upsetting, and that's probably the trauma that I've experienced, that I've come to deal with now, so many years after the event. And a lot of stuff does feel like it happened yesterday. That's the reality of things.
Yeah.
That's the pain and suffering that I endured and my family endured. So what I've got to do now is learn to deal with it, and hopefully try and use the coping mechanisms that got me through as best as they could when I was in prison to now. So, but obviously now I can have other people help me. So that's a positive in its own. So,
spinning the negative into a positive. Right, so I've got a question for you.
Yes.
How was school life for Nick Dunn?
I didn't really enjoy school. They are right. They are right when they say, when you look back at life, you'll always look back when you were at school, because they're the days that you'll always remember, even if you didn't enjoy school. I've been suspended, kicked out. I got expelled before my GCSEs, and I was just told to come back for my GCSEs, and I was just, I couldn't give a monkeys, because that was just me. Do I think back now, should I have done a bit better? Yeah, definitely, of course. I'm not the sharpest knife in the bloody drawer, but I do have some intelligence, so I did obviously learn a bit. I'm quite fond of my geography, my history, and I just think, well, why do I need to learn maths when I can just use a calculator? Why do I need to use my head? And Absolutely. I was okay at algebra, and I was thinking, when the hell am I ever going to use algebra?
I think everyone thinks that.
Well, they try to tell you it's a trains, don't they? That's why they tell you it's school. Oh yeah, you're going to need algebra if you're going to work out train times. You fuck! Who uses algebra to work out trains? You read the fucking board.
John's basically sponsored by Southwest Trains.
If I asked this question. I was like, who
Yeah.
the fuck uses algebra? And it was like an architect.
But
I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave school and become a fucking architect because I was meant at algebra.
Easy.
They're like, yeah, there was probably people like that. Great, we need good architects because some buildings are bloody shite.
That's probably why they're so shit. If every bugger's going in there learning algebra to be architects,
But let's be real. Like, architects are probably like 8 to 10% of the UK population.
oh no, fuck
if
that. Even less than that. You're probably talking like
So
0.2%
you're
of
trying
the
to-
populations that are architects.
You're trying to
How many
fit
fucking
everyone
architects
into...
you need? Do you know, it's really interesting. I was having this conversation with a pal of mine the other day, and we were saying about the education system in general. And do you know, I think the Germans have got it right. Because they got a lot more focus on engineering and trade skills and teaching people to do things with their hands. Things they can actually fucking use when they're really going to make some money and be their own bosses instead of work for someone else. We don't do that.
This is what I think what school should be. You've got to have a world history, but you're obviously going to focus more on your nation's history because that's where you come from. I did that. I learned this, that, and the other. I enjoyed it. You learn the bad things in history and you learn good things in history. Different civilizations throughout the ages of mankind. That's great, you know. And then you got all your other where you learn the dinosaurs when you're a kid. But when you're about to be like school leavers, them years, you should learn how to be an adult. The key skills that's going to get you a job when you leave school to help when you're at college and basically tell you what you're going to do in life, because there's a lot of people who leave school and they haven't got a clue what to do in life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think national service, it's there. It's not a you must do national service. It's if you want to do it.
Yeah.
I think that you would have to do it that way in this current generation. Don't force them, because the younger generation do not like to be forced. You know, sometimes you might have to force them, you know, a different meal, but they would go, well, that's not me McDonald's, is it, ma'am? And you're like, I can't just make you live on McDonald's, you fat shit.
But no, you're banging the money. You're banging the money.
No, you are right though, yeah.
Like, you know, we were always like out playing football in all weathers, going down the woods, playing armies. But that's when you're a kid. We were allowed to be kids. But people will say, well, the social media wasn't involved then. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. But if you know, minimise that social media and let them be a kid,
that's it.
Then they're going to get the best of both.
Yeah.
And I think with all the knife crime, young people, like national service would be a great thing for getting rid of those people, because it's not nice. Like, imagine you being a parent and then having the police knock at your door and say, can I speak to your son? And you're like, why? What's the matter? Oh, there's reports he stabbed someone. And your child's 15-year-old, and you're thinking, 15-year-old, and the person's just stabbed someone.
Yeah.
How would you react if you're a parent? This day and age, you'd not be happy. But I tell you what, if that happened when I was growing up, my dad would have braid me all over. Absolutely kicked the fuck out of me.
Gotta be honest, I'd probably still do that to JJ now. I mean, he's only 3, I might get in trouble with that, but I think I'd probably do the same thing.
You can't do that. I'm not saying every parent back then disciplined and has to raise a fist. That's just how I was brought up. Has it gave me any problems in life? No. You know what it's instilled in me? Discipline. Even though I am a little arsehole at times, and I was at school, and I still break rules now and again, but I've got respect in that discipline. Respect from your elders, just respect in general. And I feel like, you know, I've got a purpose in life. You know, I'm polite when I want to be. Sometimes I can just move like a jack in the box, but you know, I don't personally go out my way to insult someone or be an arsehole in general in life, and that's because of my upbringing. And I'm not saying, you know, every child nowadays is badly brought up, but I think in the school there needs to be more for them for when they leave to, you know, don't fall it down the slippery slope and get into gangs and do young crimes. You know, each their own, fair enough, but we can't all be angels in society, can we? There's got to be a few devils.
Yeah.
But no, you're right, and I think a lot of it is there's no outlet for these kids either. And I think, you know, you're right. The army, it doesn't get sold as a good option these days. I know when I was young, no, when we would have been, you know, kids, every kid wanted, every lad would try to be. Not a copper, no one wants to be a copper, but everyone wanted to be in the army or in the navy or do something like that because it's a manly job. When you're a young lad, you want the manliest job going, don't you? That's why we'll be fireman, astronaut.
It's a sense of pride, isn't it?
It's
that I've served the country, I've done my bit.
Yeah. I wanted to join the army. I played armies like down the woods. You'd make your little camp. You'd nick your mum's dark makeup. You know, once you saw
go full commando,
Tropic Thunder.
Once you saw Arnold Schwarzenegger put that on commando, and you think,
let off some steam, Bennett. Love that film.
That's where I want to be. I want to be him. And you sit with your dad and you watch the old war films, some black and white, some old, and then you see the old war films where it's British, not just American. And you go, you know what? I want to join the army. So that was one of the reasons why I was a shithead in school.
Yeah.
And I didn't take much attention. But do I regret not doing that? Of course. I wish I paid a bit more attention at school. It might have helped me a bit better in my army career. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed the time when I was in the army. I met some great people. Some who are still up with us today, some unfortunately paid the ultimate sacrifice, but we're always a band of brothers, and I'm very proud to have served my country in the years that I was in, and the countries that I've experienced, and I'm definitely proud to be a part of an airborne brotherhood, to wear that maroon machine on my head, because it's pride, and that is what you need in life. You need a bit of pride. And yes, my pride at the minute's a bit dented and a bit cracked, but I'm working on getting it back. And that's going to take time. But I've been for a rough ride recently. So, you know, you've got to try and re-love yourself and have a bit of you time, you know.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I'm feeling that. I think, you know, I've had a shit year. I mean, obviously I made a joke at the start of this about my wife leaving me, but legitimately this time 11 months ago she did, during COVID, and it came completely out of the blue, and it fucked me right up. So I know where you're coming from. Sometimes life throws it at you. It's difficult to see the wood through the trees.
Yeah.
But the last 3 months, I've really sort of dusted myself off and got back out there and reminded myself who I am. And it's a slow journey, isn't it? Trying to rebuild when you've gone through shit. Obviously, I'm not going to sit and claim to have gone through anywhere near the experiences you've had, Nick, by any stretch of imagination. But on some small scale, I understand.
It's hard to even contemplate bouncing back sometimes when you're so like underneath the floor. Do you know what I mean?
Like when you slip down that slippery slope, you don't know if you're going to survive it or not. Yeah. Hopefully, someone, you know, gives you a lifeline and pulls you out. But sometimes you've got to just dig deep and help get yourself out yourself.
Yeah, it starts with you.
That's what the real struggle is. That's what, you know, if you can achieve that. I'm not saying do everything on your own. Accept the help when it's available.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've got to make the first move. It's like, you know, you take a horse to water. You can't force it to drink. It doesn't want to drink. You know what I mean? So you've got to make the first step. And once you do that, hopefully you'll achieve the best thing you can ever imagine, and that's getting back on the straight and narrow and the path of life, as they say. And that's what I'm now doing at the minute. And we've all had a shitty couple of years, undoubtedly. Can't disagree there. But now I feel like with everything easing now, and hopefully things can, materialise, especially for me in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
How the fuck did we get there from school?
No, I love it. I love digression. It's my favourite thing. Yeah. But you're absolutely right.
You are. Everything just, when you just...
It's all relative.
Like questions can just, say... That's what makes things a bit more interesting. Because if I just gave you an answer, what was I like at school?
I've been there, mate. I've been there, mate. People have been like, it's fine.
It's like,
give me a bit of drama.
It's like when people ask, what did you eat? I'll explain.
I don't doubt that.
But I love that. Because it's the art of conversation. It's so lost these days.
I could just turn on and say, what was the food like? Oh, shit.
Fine. Yeah.
That stops it.
And
then they'll go, you can't just say that. Well, you've asked us.
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate a bit better?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to know what I ate in prison? Right. Okay, I'll tell you. There you go. And that's why I do it. Yes, I try not to go off on a bit of a tangent. It's something that I need to learn how to do, because that's what I've been told by my psychologist as well. When I've been suffering as well, I go off on a bit of a tangent, and I should just focus a bit more. So even at the age of 36, I'm still learning a bit more about myself, and I don't think you'll ever stop learning about yourself.
Yeah. No, I think you're bang on.
Oh, I get that. Yeah.
I think the thing is as well, I mean, I see where your psychologist is coming from, but I'm the same. Ben knows this anyway. Yeah. I'll digress here, there, and everywhere. I'll go off on massive tangents, and every story's got about 5 different little stories. But do you know, it's really good. I've been through I went through therapy last year, and to sort my head out a little bit anyway. And the thing, the conclusion I came to is actually being that kind of person where you end up talking things out, explaining things out. You inevitably end up coming to the answers yourself. So it goes back to what you were saying before, Nick, about digging yourself out of problems. If you could explain the situation, look at everything laid out logically from A to Z, not A to B, but A to Z, and say, right, well, this is all the proponents to make it happen. This is the way forward. If you could do that, that takes a special kind of person. True. It's a unique quality to have. It's not everyone has it. And you're right. Some people, and it's like I was saying before, art communication. Some people, you ask them a question, they give you a 1-word answer or a 2-word answer. And actually, nowadays, the majority of people are like that. But if you could sit there and you could hash out and talk it out, then that's a really unique quality these days to have.
It's definitely like a lost art, I suppose.
Explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and sometimes my sister will pick us up a bit. She'll go, you don't have to go like far end of a bloody fart. I'm like, not, but I just like explaining things in detail, because
visual.
I get all my stones, and guess what? I turn them all over. You know what I mean? And people can just listen to what I say and just go, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And they're a bit shocked. They're taken back, and they've got this information, and they've gone, I never expected that. But he's just cleared a lot of stuff up that I thought I knew, which clearly I didn't know. Like, how many times do you hear one thing and then it's translated into something else, and next minute it's too far from the bloody truth? I'd rather just tell it how it is, and no one can complain.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think that...
I try and put a bit of laugh and a joke on it, because you do get funny things and bad, negative times of your life.
Yeah.
You do.
But it's like, I always got to use the same analogy for this. And I always say it's that old adage of look after the pennies, the pounds will look after themselves. You can apply it to anything. It's all in the detail. The devil is in the detail. If you give people all of the elements, so they get in the wider picture, and you give them all the elements in between, then they can piece together the story as it's meant to be told.
Yeah.
A lot of times now, people have a conversation about something, they give short, stark answers, and wonder why it gets twisted. or someone takes an element of it. Well, you know from obviously being football fans, well, Nick, everything gets twisted in the media from that because they give short, stern answers. It's so easy to do that. If you explain everything away, and someone goes and tries to take it and take it out of context, say one thing, you go, well, this is the rest of what was said. So put it back into context. Stop talking shit. It goes down to that. But I'm going to segue into my next question, which we can segue nicely into actually, and that is, I'd say, if you could change one perception that civvies, the general population, would have about military personnel, so not the military as a whole, but military men, what would it be?
That we're not all a bunch of arseholes.
That's what Steve said.
That is exactly what Steve
said. What Steve said, yeah.
I don't want the civilian side of the nation to look at military personnel and think we are bad people. I don't certainly want to be looked at as a god, because I'm far from it. Well, I am an airborne god. But no, seriously, I just would prefer to be respected. Like, Remembrance Day to us is every day. Like, everyone comes out once a year, and fair one. I love seeing people who are non-military showing their respect. But if you know people in that, and you know that they're a veteran, it's nice to show a bit of respect. And I think people in our country should show military people respect that they are not given, but they've earned, because we do the jobs and the stuff that gives you the freedom and the life that you continue to live each day. We sacrifice a lot. A lot of stuff happens to military people in their time because they focus on that job. They sacrifice. They miss vital birthdays for their child. They miss family times at Christmas. They go through marriage breakups because they are so fixated. We go through a lot, and all I say is respect it.
I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that a lot.
That's perfect, yeah.
When you look at it from the perspective of, and I know you're itching to ask a question, Ben, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet.
Okay.
But when you look at wider society, I think that stems a question for everybody really. People these days, and not just the younger generation, but people in general, really, they don't want to talk up people who do the jobs that they don't want to do. But I mean, you take it to a completely wide ends of the spectrum. It goes like people who clean toilets, and then you go through to people in the military. The jobs that no one seems to want to do, but they equally have their place in society. If people didn't do it, we'd all be fucked. Obviously, they're not the same kind of job. Someone cleaning a shitty toilet is not the same as going out there and you need to get your fucking legs blown off. But I know exactly where you're coming from. People have no respect. I think it stems back from the way the government portrays things as well. You look at the police. When my mum was growing up, beat police officers used to command respect. Now they're pencil pushers, and they're just there. People look at them as glorified traffic wardens, and there's no respect there. It's because everything's been watered down. You've got to be nice to everybody. You've got to make everybody happy. You can't say anything and say the wrong thing. You can't be honest. You can't be a straight white bloke. No, you can't be anything anymore without pissing somebody off. Everyone's so afraid of upsetting somebody else that everything's watered down.
100%. Yes, and it's sad, but that's unfortunately how life is. I didn't really get to witness it back from 2013 to 2017 because, yes, I see things on social media when I was able to use social media, but I'm not in my country. I'm not seeing it change before my eyes. I was in a total different country, and when I came home, I noticed a lot of difference. I also noticed how I couldn't use a fucking washing machine, so I had to ask how to use that again because using me hand in a bucket, that's how I was cleaning my washing. But yeah, the world we live in, it's tight. It's broken at the minute.
Well, the washing machine.
You know, I'm just
say.
like, why can't we just go through life and just have a time where we're not moaning and whinging about naff and bloody trivia? Like, oh, I'm offended about this, I'm offended about that. Why are you being offended for? Why?
Yeah.
It's mental, isn't it?
It is. If you don't like it, don't
Oh.
look at it. It's that easy. People, you can turn the fucking telly off. You can turn your phone off. You can turn the computer off. Why can't people understand that? You don't have to sit there and go, I don't like it, so I'm going to sit there and watch it. No, fuck off. Turn it off. Stop being a dickhead.
Going out of your way to get offended. What the fuck is that?
It's because people are idiots. And not, you know, I will go out as far. People are idiots.
I think it's a sense of morbid curiosity.
It's not even that.
Then
People love to have something to bitch and moan about.
Yeah.
It's that misery loves company. People like to pack together. It's a tribal thing.
Yeah.
Same as obviously Nick Garcia, obviously being a military man, football as well was same. People love to be in tribes where everyone's got the same opinions, the same thoughts. So miserable bastards love to tribe together with miserable bastards.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. But I'm going to stop getting on my high horse now because I'm getting all hot and fiery. Ben, over to you.
So, if your washing machine actually is broken, Nick, we're promoting your book. So, buy the book. Help Nick get a mechanic out. Awesome. There it is. Surviving Hell.
That's the paperback.
That's the paperback. Okay.
This is the hardback.
Hardback. Where can we get that?
You can get it at Waterstones. You can get it off Amazon. Amazon's the go-to for getting it. Or if you want signed copies, you can buy them from me.
Okay.
You just send me a DM on my social media, and we will square that away. No problem.
Nice one.
What makes you the most money, Nick? Which way should we point people? I'm assuming going direct to you gets you a few more of the Benjamins. Should we send it all your way?
Yeah, that is true. Obviously, if it comes directly to me, but either way, I'm quite happy for people to purchase the book.
Fair enough.
How they see fit.
Waterstones is fucking good. Well done.
Waterstones is very good.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. One more question and then over to you. So, you're looking at me funny. What's
I'm waiting for your question.
Okay, cool. What was the hardest physical challenge that you faced, and did you ever feel that you were going to reach a breaking point where you were just like, this is fucked? You'd probably know it as Wednesday.
Well, leg day is a horrible day. Like. I remember being on P Company during my parachute regiment training at Cartwrick, and I was on the stretcher, and everyone was dropping off, and I kept on it. But because I'm a short arse, I was like that, so I was having to do that and bouncing on my shoulder. And I remember watching my P Company DVD, and you see what come over the brow of the hill, and you kind of see me in the distance. I'm crying. It made me cry, that event. It's absolutely fucking horrible. But I showed grit, drive, and determination because I wanted that maroon beret so much. And sometimes you don't know what you're capable of unless you're faced with adversity. And I would say being in prison, that final year where your court case is stuck at high court and you're just every day just seems to feel like a week and you're like wanting something to happen and nothing's happening and you just get mentally drained. And I was begging me sister, like, you need to bring me dad out, and she was like, oh, he's getting old and the long flight from. And I tell you what, when my dad and my sister came to visit me in prison, it gave me such a morale boost seeing him, because I was on dregs. I was like, you know what, game over, I've had enough. That I'm throwing that towel in, and they gave me that boost that kept me going before we got released. So yeah, I have to be honest and say that that's the hardest things, like, definitely.
I'm glad that you thought about that as well. Yeah.
Well, I can't. I could just give one answer. Prison, yeah, horrible. But no, like I've gone through something else, and the stretcher race made me cry because it's horrible, and that was very hard. So I have to include that as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, if you're an innocent person, prison time isn't nice. Full stop.
Yeah.
It's having your freedom stripped.
Well, I had 3 pretty generic questions left, but I'm going to fuck them off because actually it's something I'd much rather hear Nick talk about.
I've just deleted some stuff.
Yeah, I'm fucking all of mine off because, you know what, we've touched on it during the course of this episode, obviously a few times already. I think it'd be a really good and poignant point for, if you're happy to, Nick, just to talk about that prison experience, what life was like for you during those years, and sort of getting a sense of that start, middle, and end of going through that process and the relief you got to in the end to getting out. I think it's a story that people should hear.
Yeah, I think it would be a bit of a disservice to get to the edge of the lake. Let's jump in.
Yeah. Well, I was doing maritime security. I was on my company vessel. We were near the coast of India to procure fuel and provisions. There was a cyclone, so under maritime law, you can seek shelter in their waters. So yes, we were in Indian waters. However, we weren't there illegally, as they like to say we were at the beginning. And we had weapons, even though we weren't operating. The weapons were locked away in pelly boxes, etc. As the days went by, we were obviously arrested, took to port, and we went through a few days at port, going through the same stuff, different company, different organisation, and then it got to the point where the local boys, Q branch, were getting a bit chewed, so they just basically removed the weapons off the vessel. So there's 35 of us and 35 weapons. So if there was a duck on the airship, that would have been getting arrested too. I believe it was a seizure exercise, but at the time, you're just trying to look after your well-being. You're in a foreign country. There's not much English getting thrown about, and you have to try and remain calm, collective, professional. Try not to let your family come into the forefront of your mind, because then you'll start worrying. That's when you can make potentially wrong decisions. But we were normally kept out the way, and then obviously it got to the point, the 18th of October 2013, we were told we're going to get arrested and go to prison, basically. However, the way they worded it was, we're going to take you to hospital for medical checkup. And we're like, well, we're not stupid here. What hospital doesn't let you take your reading glasses, your wedding ring, your lighter, your tabs, your mobile phone, your wallet? We weren't stupid. We knew where we were going. But we were professional. We put our company T-shirts on because we are innocent people who've done nothing wrong. And it just was the start of a 4-year nightmare. It just was like, wow, cameramen all over us in the bus, weapons from the Indian police all over, and you're like, I don't know the state of these weapons, so you're trying to, in case the bump hit of the road and a weapon goes off, so you're basically, your heart's in your mouth, kind of, from you getting on that bus to the final destination. We went to court, someone says blah, 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 and then next minute we're on our way to Palmcourty prison, a prison that was built during British rule. So when they found out there were 6 British coming to that prison, they were like doing cartwheels. Oh, the shoes on the other foot, because the state of Tamil Nadu, where we were, didn't like the fact that Britain ruled them. And I was told this by locals when I wasn't in prison, etc. We were there for a few short days, and it was absolutely awful. They gave onion omelettes, rice, dal, jacket potato that hadn't been cooked properly. I'm like, do you not know how to make a jacket potato? Right, how about? And I was thinking, if we're going to be staying here for the duration, we're going to be carted out on a trolley. There's no way we can survive here. Not a chance. But the Indians stayed there. We got moved up to Chennai, to Puzal Central Prison 2. And this was the remand prison. We were there for over Christmas, New Year, and we got bail in April. And it was a horrible experience, that prison. We were hardly able to eat. The rations that they gave us was disgusting. Some of the times it either been pissed on by cats or rats, because it just laid out on the floor in the kitchen, and it's disgusting. So we had to take hygiene to the next level, and we still got ill. We all got ill that bad. I literally thought, I'm going to fucking die in this prison. I remember lying in my cell. I was absolutely ill. We all were ill. It went through with like a hot knife and butter. And during the day, when we were allowed out of the prison compound, we used to use the outside toilets. And I remembered, I need the toilet. So I kind of got out of the cell and I was kind of hobbling over, and I just kind of whited. I was sick, and I don't like being sick. And then I shut myself at the same time, because that's initially when I was going to the toilet. And I was just crying, but I was laughing at the same time, and I was thinking of me family, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking die here. You know what I mean? It was that bad. But we had a few little laughs. We had a rat incident. I elaborate about that in the book. It's a funny thing. We had a cake eating competition where I was the cake eater, but I wasn't allowed to chew it till all the pieces got in my mouth, where I can't breathe through my nose. I like to kind of breathe through my mouth. So I just went all over the shop. Now, with ex-military, you try and adapt and overcome in horrible situations. You assess things. So we went back to basics. How to keep yourself entertained. Let's get some paper, which we used to try and write for when the embassy came to get letters to and from our families. We did battleships. We played Uno, card game. We weren't allowed normal cards in because obviously it's classed as gambling. But we did sneak the odd normal cards, so we could play like pontoon, blackjack, the card games, etc. I think we had a few board games as well. And this is like what family members have been sending over to the embassy so they could like go and buy. So they would send money over and stuff like that, money into our accounts in the prison, so we could go to the prison shop and buy biscuits just to give us something else to eat, because we weren't eating much. We all lost a lot of weight, and some people looked like a bag of bones getting out. And that was in the space of close to 6 months. That's how quick we lost weight, and being ill didn't help either. But we got bail in April, and then we couldn't leave the country, and we had to sign bail twice a day at the local police station. And during this time, it's a 90-day rule. If they don't appeal in 90 days, we go home. So this is like money from our families keeping us in a hotel. At first, the company was paying, and then they just dropped their arse and basically forgot about it. So that was like, ta-da. So everything fell onto my family, and I would never say I was a charity case, but I had a few good people send us money over to try and survive. Did I go out drinking and try and survive a bit? Of course I did. What do you want us to do? Sit and sulk in my hostel room all day, every day, and plunge into depression? Of course not. You've got to try and live. So I find a gym. I like going to the gym. Indians are mad for the gym, so there's got to be a gym in it near me. So that's how I entertain myself. But then it gets closer to the 90-day, and you're thinking, like we're going to go home, and then day 88 they fucking put the paperwork into the Supreme Court, and that's it. A massive sucker blow. I can't imagine how the family felt at that time, 2 days before the end. The merry-go-round keeps on going, and you think, what on earth is going on here? I've done nothing wrong. I've been to 2 different prisons now. I've got a taste of freedom, and then that's it. Yeah, I'm living in hostels. This is costing a lot of money. You know, I'm not working. I'm not getting paid off my company. I'm relying on handouts, charity money from support our Parachute Regiment. They were helping us a little bit. British Legion helped a little bit. My family done a mint. All this adds up over a year and a half, and then obviously we'll do a trial. Trial goes to shit, and you've got to. You're stood in that courtroom and you're thinking, what on earth's going on here? And I've never seen a man so scared in my life, and I've seen scared people when I've been in Afghanistan and Iraq, from the women and children, etc. But our lawyer walked over to us in that courtroom, and he went, "You've been sentenced to 5 years," and we're like, "What? You're joking, aren't you?" No, you're going, because like I say, Madame Q Branch, the woman in charge of the investigation, the woman that destroyed our lives for 4 years, as soon as the judge's assistant said in Tamil that, 5 years, she didn't know how quick to get her little flip-flops out of that courtroom. She was gone, and I thought, something's not right. At that same time, our embassy girls, what the British embassy does around the world, they, hire local people to work for them, so the relations is better. And our 2 girls were obviously Tamil and could understand the lingo, so they were out of that courtroom straight on the phone to, obviously, New Delhi, saying, they're going to prison for 5 years, what the fuck do we do now? Well, that's when the British government can do a little bit more once you've been convicted. Is it right or wrong? I don't know. I don't make the rules. Should it be changed? Of course it should be changed. If country nationals are literally innocent, you should stand behind them, because at the end of the day, I pay my way, I pay my taxes. Why can't and I served, okay, fair enough, I served me country, but I've shown to my country that I will serve you. If I'm in the shit and I've done nothing wrong, surely you should have my back.
Fucking right.
Hell yeah.
But they shouldn't just have my back. They should have anyone's back if they are innocent. If you're guilty, I'm sorry, fuck off, mate. Your crime's getting caught. There was no crime committed by us. We were innocent as can be.
Yeah.
And I lost 4 years of my life. My mum suffered a double aneurysm when I was in prison. That destroyed me. I had to go to a dark place to go forward, because I just wanted to self-destruct. How I didn't, I will never know. I need that fight that I had then, now, to take my life to the next level after all the recent mental health issues I've been experiencing. I've lost my way in life, but now I'm back on the horse, and I'm heading towards that light, and I have to go back to when I had a reason to fight, to then instill it again into now, my current self, because I have a fight with my own demons. And this has all happened through...
Oh, you back?
Yeah, we're back.
Oh, thank God.
Hey, I thought the internet went again. Yeah, okay.
So,
I'm glad that didn't cut out like a couple of minutes before.
So,
edit this out.
we're going to prison again, and I've got to make that dreaded phone call. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done, hearing my mum screaming down the phone. It felt like she was a wounded animal. A little baby boy's going to prison for 5 years. How my sister coped. She deserves a medal, that woman. She kept this family together.
Yeah.
And we're only a little small family as it, but she rose and tried her utmost best to show the world that these innocent men are suffering at the hands of a so-called friendly nation. Surely, if you're two friendly nations, you could have had the matter resolved. But no, it didn't. It carried on. We went to prison again. This was next door to the last prison. It was a lot better. You're in prison. It was a lot better. Yeah, it was a lot better. Well, because in the convicted prisons in India, you do tend to get a bit more than if you were in the remand prison. We had to wear a uniform. We had to wear white, but I had to cut the sleeves off because I couldn't fit my arms in at the time. But it was a short one. But the superintendent didn't like us like that, so I had to get another shirt. But like you're in that prison. It hits you. Reality hits you. You're thinking, right, here we'll go again. Your family's going like that in your head, and you've got to try and compose yourself. And this is where military training comes in. Like I say, when the shit hits the fan, you assess the situation. So I've just got to instill that into the situation that I'm in now, and that's getting through prison life. You've got to do everything quick while you're still mentally, sane, and you haven't gone into the corner and cried like a bitch for your mum and dad. Because guess what? I did that. And it's nothing to be ashamed about.
Well, no, in such a circumstance, I think anyone would.
Yeah.
I went to sleep in that prison with tears dribbling down my eyes, down my cheek, because I didn't want to make it known I was crying in the cell.
Yeah.
But I missed my family. I fucking missed my family so much. I'm an innocent man, and I've just been handed a prison sentence. Like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Like, how is this justice? It isn't. It's a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah.
And it was a horrible experience, but it's made me who I am today. And yeah, you can read about it if you're interested.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's another plug there for
There we go.
Nick's book.
I was hoping we could find a way out of that.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, like, just to let people know, it's not just my experiences in this book. It's got me sister's extract as well from her side of the 4 years, because how it affected my family.
Yeah.
It was just horrendous. And I can only talk for my family, but the rest of our families in the Chennai 6 all heard it in their own ways. And they dealt with it in their ways. Like, there was people who had arguments. There was people who built friendships. It was a weird experience. You could have put two of lifelong's best friends in that prison. They probably hate each other's guts now. You're always on top of each other. Everyone's got different hygiene levels. Everyone's got different ways they conduct themselves. Not everything's going to be roses. But what you've got to do is keep it together.
Yeah, unified.
And not let them win.
Yeah.
And they didn't beat us. I witnessed Indians getting bricked, but they never laid a finger on us. However, I did start a brawl in the hospital. Do I regret it? Yeah, of course I did. It fucked up. We got confined to a compound. So, like, we couldn't do fuck all. But unfortunately, your emotions can slip. You're human. You're allowed to, get angry from time to time.
Of course.
Of course.
You know, I wasn't the only one who showed their anger. But that's normal. That's how we deal with things sometimes. You know.
Well, judging by the circumstances of you, I think it's, you know, you were in perfectly acceptable.
Justified.
Take someone who's so shy and timid in normal day-to-day life, put them in that situation, they could change into something completely, totally different. Like, there could be an absolute hand grenade for all you know. But when they're out in normal civilian life, they might not be able to ever experience something that pushes them over that edge. You know, you never know what you're capable of in life till something bad happens.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
In a way,
You're absolutely right, and I'm conscious. So I think we're both conscious of your time in it, Nick, as well, because it's going to be nearly kick-off in 7 minutes, and I'm not going to keep you too much longer. But we're going to take this moment to say, guys, if you want to hear the rest of the story, Surviving Hell, Nick Dunn's book, get on Amazon, get in Waterstones, tap the man up for a signed copy. Although you're going to have to pay top dollar for that, but you should do anyway. Get yourself a copy. It's going to be worth the read. You're not going to be disappointed. Surviving Hell, Nick Dunn. Get your fucking copy now.
And if you are interested in Nick's story from another perspective, then check out, Veteran's Opinion, Steve Nichols. That's how I found Steve and I found yourself. Obviously, Steve says hi, so feel free to reach out to him as well from a personal perspective. Thank you very much for your time and enjoy the football.